You can charm anyone with just a few simple words. And I'm about to show you how. All right? You know, tying a bow tie is all about balance. Got to keep it all balanced, right? If you get one side slightly shorter or one loop smoother, one pull just right, look, if you overcomplicate it, it falls apart. Simple, but steady moves make it work. Communication is the same way. Some people think that big, fancy words make them sound smart, but really, they tend to make people tune out. The best communicators, well, they use simple, powerful words that make people feel understood. So whether you're leading a meeting, giving a presentation, or just chatting with a friend, simplicity builds trust. It shows clarity, confidence, and connection. And now that this bow tie is done, take a moment and think, what's one word you could simplify today to make your message stronger? All right. Stick around, because today we're going to talk about how clear language helps you win people over fast. And in the Mastery Minute, I'll share a phrase that captures the secret of great communicators. Don't forget, you want to stick around for that. And also, don't forget to like this video, subscribe, and share this episode so that more people can improve their communications in English. And drop your questions in the chat, and I'll answer a few right after the Mastery Minute. Let's dive into it, and I'll tell you a story about Julia. Julia worked for an international company, and she loved to use big, impressive vocabulary in her presentations. She would use words like utilize, commence, and facilitate. Whew. But her manager pulled her aside one day and said, "Julia, you're very smart, but your audience doesn't feel connected to you. They feel distant." That's when Julia realized, she was speaking at people and not with them. So we did a little experiment. Instead of saying we need to commence the project, she said we need to start the project. Instead of utilize this data, I told her just say use this data. And the result was her next meeting went better than ever. People nodded, they engaged, they understood her message immediately. There was no confusion. And that's the power of simplicity. It turns confusion into connection, and connection into trust. So, how can you use simple words to make a big impression? We're going to break it down right now, because here's the truth. Simple does not mean boring. It means clear. And clear is powerful. Think about it. When your message is clear, people don't have to work to understand you. The more people listen and lean in when you speak more clearly. That's what makes simplicity such a powerful communication tool. All right? It builds trust. Now let's take a look at a few easy swaps that make your English sound more natural, confident, and persuasive. And I'll give you a few tips as well on the way. All right, tip number 1. Let's start with something simple. Have you ever noticed how some professionals try to sound impressive by using big, long, complicated words? They think it makes them sound smarter, but in reality, it just creates distance. Real connection comes when your message feels easy to understand. Top marketers know this. That's why they speak to a more simple style to reach a larger audience. Okay? And that's why they sound so confident and natural. You're not trying to mix it up or anything. So let me show you what I mean. Take a look at these examples. There's some small changes, but they make a big impact. So let's look at the fancy example. Commence the project. Well, you don't need to be fancy. Make it simple. Start the project. Have you ever heard someone say, "Oh, hell, let me assist you with this task"? Huh? That's too fancy, especially if you're trying to help someone. Try, "Let me help you with this task." Oh, and my favorite, I've heard this one before. Terminate the meeting. What? Terminate? That sounds like a bad movie where they're killing people. No, we don't want that. Let's end the meeting. Simple, right? See how much friendlier it sounds? You're still being professional, but now you're connecting. Remember, the goal isn't to impress, it's to communicate your message. So when you use plain English, people don't have to decode your meaning. They just get it. And that clarity earns you trust and respect. Let me get to tip number 2. When you're speaking, you want to speak for the ear, not the eye. Okay? Here's something that most people don't realize. When you write or speak in English, your listener's brain isn't really reading, it's hearing. Okay? If you sound like a textbook, you lose your audience before you even finish the sentence. But if you talk like a real person, that's when you pull them in. And that's what it means to speak for the ear. Think about how people actually talk. We use short sentences. We use contractions. We pause, smile, and let our words breathe. And that's what makes speech feel natural and warm. So let's take a look. Formal. Here's a formal sentence that you might see in an email. Maybe you've been tempted to use language like this. "We are pleased to inform you that your request has been approved." How about this? A more natural way to say it would be, "We're happy to tell you that your request was approved." Same sentence, but you see the difference? The first sounds like a letter from a bank, and the second sounds like a person. That's what you want. That's what real communication is about. Connection. Simple language doesn't just mean using fewer words. It means using words that flow to sound natural and make people feel like they're in a conversation with you. Get it? All right. Next up. Okay. Use strong verbs instead of weak phrases. I've got several articles on my blog about using strong verbs, but let me tell you a little fun secret about English. It loves to stretch things out. We turn simple ideas into long phrases like make a decision instead of decide, or give an example or an explanation instead of just explain. But when you shorten it, something amazing happens. Your sentence sounds stronger. It's also faster, and you sound more confident. Like imagine you're in a meeting and you say, "We need to make an improvement." We need to make an improvement. Sounds pretty formal, right? But if instead you say, "We need to improve," you sound more decisive, like a leader. And that one little change, when you change those verbs to stronger verbs, it changes the tone. It makes you clearer, active, in control. And that's the power of strong verbs. They cut the fluff and they deliver confidence. Every time you choose a strong verb instead of the longer phrase, you help your listener focus on action, not just information. All right. Let's move on to tip number 4. You know, facts and data are useful, but they don't always stick because people forget numbers. But they always remember how you made them feel. And that is where stories comes in. Okay, I used to say, and I still say, facts tell, but stories sell. They turn information into emotion, and emotion creates connection. For example, imagine saying something like, our new system increases efficiency by 30%. That's nice, but it feels kind of distant, doesn't it? Now, say, last month, our new system saved each employee 10 hours of work. That's a whole workday. Wow, suddenly everyone's picturing that in their mind, and it's real, it's relatable, and it matters to them. Stories make your language come alive. They paint pictures in your people, in your audience or the people you're talking to. It paints a picture in their mind, helps your listener feel like a part of the moment. And that's how you win people over. Not with data and facts, but with the stories behind it. Huh? All right. Yeah, it's true. All right, my last tip, number 5. Read it out loud. Now, here is a quick test, and I use this all the time myself. Before your next meeting, or even an email that you're sending, read your message out loud. Seriously, just say it. If you trip over a word, or if you have to slow down to make sense of it, that's your signal that it's too complicated. Okay? Your ears will catch what your eyes miss. When something sounds awkward, your brain notices it instantly. So reading out loud helps you hear what your audience will hear. And that's really the secret to sounding clear and natural and confident. Simple words always flow smoothly. So before you hit the send button or you walk into that meeting, give your message a quick read aloud. You might be surprised at how much stronger it sounds when you find those weaknesses. All right? All right. Now, if you ever think, my English isn't good enough, my English isn't fancy enough, I want you to stop that right there. Just stop. The goal isn't to sound complicated. It's to sound confident and clear. Remember, the best communicators, leaders, teachers, storytellers, all of them use plain and powerful language. You don't have to impress people with big words. You impress them by making them feel understood and making sure that they understand you. That's impressive. So, what is one big English word that you use often that you could probably replace with something simpler? Drop it in the chat. I'll give you a clear, natural alternative at the end of the show. Go ahead. That reminds me, just yesterday someone was asking about the word ubiquitous. Ubiquitous. They read it or it was in an article or a video, and I said, wow, ubiquitous. And they said, what does it mean? I said, it just means everywhere. It means, that's what it means. It means something that is everywhere. It can be found anywhere. So instead of saying ubiquitous, I said, you can just say everywhere. It's everywhere. And that was like, oh, it's so much simpler. Yeah. All right, here's your challenge for this week. Take something that you wrote, an email, a message, or even just a single slide, and rewrite it using simpler words. Then read it out loud. You'll be amazed at how much clearer you sound after you make those changes. And if you want more practical tools like this, you can check out the full blog post. It's in the description. It's in the chat. And you can also, I encourage you, join the mastery course, the English mastery course, to get a structured, simple system to help you improve your English in just 10 minutes a day. And it's perfect for busy professionals. And of course, don't forget to like, subscribe, and share this episode with someone who wants to sound more confident in English. And now you know what time it is. It's my favorite time. My favorite time. It's called the Mastery Minute. And here we go. Now, this one hits close to home for me. My dad was a naval aviator, and later on a Navy engineer. And he used to say this to me all the time. It's called the KISS principle. Keep it simple. Keep it simple, stupid. Yes, my father used to say that all the time. I softened it over the years. You know, not everybody likes to be called stupid. Now I just call it keep it super simple. It keeps the acronym, but adds a little warmth. And it's actually my fourth rule in my 5 conversation hacks course. And this is came back in the 1960s. Navy engineers who learned that the best systems work when they're easy to understand and maintain. If you overcomplicate it, it fails. And my dad lived by that rule, still does, and so do I, because it applies perfectly to communication too. Now, let's apply it to communication. If your listener can't follow your words, your message won't land, no matter how smart you sound. Simplicity isn't dumbing it down, it's leveling it up. It's clarity and focus and connection all in one. Think about it. Steve Jobs once said, "Simple can be harder than complex because cutting the fluff takes real skill." Well, next time you prepare a presentation or write an email, ask yourself, can I make this simpler, clearer, without losing the meaning? And if you can, you'll sound sharper and far more memorable, trust me. And that is the power behind the KISS principle. Keep it super simple. It's not just a phrase, it's a mindset and a reminder that clarity wins hearts and minds and trust every single time. I love that KISS principle. All right, today we talked about how simple words can win people over in meetings and conversations and just everyday communication. Remember, clear beats clever every time. Next week on Monday, we will dive into how to avoid 3 of the most common English mistakes that make you sound less professional and how to fix them so fast that you sound confident, clear, and polished every time you speak. And that's all the time we have for today. I don't see any questions in the chat. I'm Dennis Wilborn, and this has been 15-Minute Mastery. I'll see you next time. Have a great weekend.